Shri Harshvardhan Agrawal ji, President FICCI, Madam Naina Lal Kidwai ji, Chairman, Rothschild and Company India and past President FICCI, Mr. Ashwani Kumar Tiwari, Managing Director, State Bank of India, dignitaries on dais, industry colleagues and friends, Namaskar. I am delighted to be here amid you all at FICCI's 4th edition of Leads focused on the theme of collaboration for growth in a transformative world. I am glad to have been asked to talk about green financing today. And I believe green financing is one of the best examples of collaborative growth in a transformative world. Governments, businesses, and all stakeholders need to have a collaborative approach to move ahead in a world faced with geopolitical shifts, technological advancement, and a rising threat to a planet Earth. But as the saying goes, to move ahead, look back. We do not have to look far back. The process that set the ball rolling on environmental degradation started about 200 years ago with the Industrial Revolution. So 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius is not just a measure of temperature, but also the mindless growth that humankind started to pursue. So, when the industry looks at its profit figures, it must be very mindful of the environmental cost hidden behind profits. Friends, the 21st century presents us with a dual challenges. On the one hand, we must continue to meet the developmental aspiration of a young and growing nation. On the other, we must respond with urgency to a climate crisis, biodiversity loss, and ecological degradation. Balancing these priorities is no easy task, but India, led by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, has chosen a path of ambition, innovation, and transformation. Indian businesses give me immense hope. The fact that FICCI has organized this event is proof enough that you are driven as such by economic growth as you are by green concern. Green finance is not a niche. It is a backbone of resilient, competitive economies. Green finance is not a simply but mobilizing money for environmental projects. It is about restructuring the flow of a capital so that every investment in infrastructure industry, transport, or agriculture contribute to sustainability rather than undermines it. It is about creating economic system where profit and progress are aligned with the health of our ecosystems and the well-being of our people. India has already taken significant steps. The issuance of sovereign green bonds has attracted strong investor confidence, signaling that the global finance community recognizes India's green growth potential. Our regulation, including Reserve Bank of India and SEBI, are promoting transparency, responsible disclosure, and accountability in green instruments, ensuring credibility and trust in the system. We are also fostering balanced finance mechanism where public funds are used to de-risk and leverage private capital for renewable energy, energy efficiency, electric mobility, waste to wealth, and nature-based solution. This is crucial because the scale of the challenge is immense Estimates suggest that India will require more than 10 trillion US dollar by 2070 to meet its net zero target. Ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, India is moving ahead with the three clear understanding. First, climate finance is development finance. So clean power, efficient cities, climate smart agriculture, and resilient infrastructure are not add-ons. They are foundation of energy security, food security, and industrial competitiveness. Second, countries that mobilize green investment now will own their value chain of tomorrow. India maintained that the developed countries have the moral responsibility to support the Global South and UNFCCC process of 300 billion US dollar by 2035 is insufficient. We believe the Global North must rise to hold its promise for a greater good of planet health. But public money alone cannot and would not be sufficient to address the scale of problem at hand. Fiscal space is tight. The role of public budget and concessional finance is to de-risk crowding and set rules that unlock private capital. The Modi government is aware that investors move with policies are predictable, pipelines are backbone, and measurement are credible. In short, the path to green finance is the path of collaborative growth. It is based on some principle like, first, people must be at the center. Green finance must create decent job, protect the vulnerable, and broaden access. A just transition is not a slogan, it is a design requirement. Second, carbon finance is part of the solution. High integrity carbon markets governed by transparent baselines, conservative crediting, and clear corresponding adjustments can channel billions into mitigation that would otherwise not be financed. Article 6 transitions, when aligned with NDCs and long-term strategies, provide both result-based payments and incentive for innovation. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement should be the foundation of integrity. I would like to say that the topic of Article 6 for a bit, given its importance, what the world has set out to do. Recently, one in the address, Inger Anderson, Executive Director, UNEP, rightly said, finance is a make or break issue for climate action. Without it, the 2030 Agenda and the Paris Agreement will be pipe dreams. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement enables international cooperation to tackle climate change and to unlock financial support for developing countries. Article 6.2 specifically provide accounting and reporting guidance for the Paris parties to use internationally transferred mitigation outcomes toward their nationally determined contributions. Countries can trade Article 6 units bilaterally or multilaterally. The provision enables a seller country that is on track to exceed its NDC's target to trade units and obtain additional climate investment, support for capacity building, and access to technologies not available through domestic resources. The buyer country or entity purchases this unit known as internationally transferred mitigation outcomes to address gaps in meeting its own climate goals. Article 6.4 in Paris Agreement establish a new UNFCCC mechanism which can be used to trade high-quality carbon credits. Countries can also trade units through a centralized market mechanism overseen by the United Nations. The Government of India launched the Green Credit Program in October 2023 to encourage individuals and institutions to voluntarily undertake positive environmental action. Under this initiative, effective eco-restoration work on degraded forest land was envisioned. On 29th August 2025, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change notified a revised methodology for the Green Credit Program. Introducing for the Green Credit Program some new initiative like innovative provision such as a direct participation by private entities, minimum restoration commitment, mobilizing private capital for climate action, and utilization of earned green credits. India's commitment at the global stage underpinned demand for green investment. The Reserve Bank of India in 2023 estimated that India will spend about 85.6 trillion by 2030 to adapt industries to climate norms. While the numbers are staggering, we excel at meeting scale with ambition translating into achievement. Friends, India is the world's fastest growing major economy. We are home to one of the largest renewable energy expansion program, one of the most vibrant startup ecosystems, and a young, skilled population eager to innovate. Investment in green hydrogen, solar and wind power, sustainable agriculture, circular economy models, and climate-smart infrastructure can generate millions of jobs, enhance competitiveness, and strengthen our energy security. Green financing will be the key catalyst to unlock this transformation. We need financing models that are inclusive, ensuring the MSMEs, farmers, and vulnerable communities also benefit from sustainable investment. We need financing that is affordable, accessible, and directed towards long-term resilience rather than short-term gains. And we need global financial institutions, banks, and investors to integrate sustainability into the core of their decision-making. I would also like to stress the role of innovation financial technology, digital platform, and AI-driven solutions can make green financing more transparent, efficient, and scalable. Instruments such as green bonds, sustainability-linked loans, carbon markets, and impact investment funds must become mainstream, not niche. A failure to finance our green transition is a failure to our moral duty. It means locking our future generations into a future of greater climate uncertainty, resource scarcity, and environmental degradation. It would be an acceptance that our generation's comfort is more important than their survival. A nation that runs contrary to Indian values and principles. Let us resolve to protect the tomorrow our coming generation will be born into. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for your inspiring address, for your guidance on catalyzing green finance to empower India's transition to a sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister, sir, will now be taking leave to attend to other official responsibilities.